It's the end of the week, and so it's time to take out the trash. Okay, everybody, it was a trashy week. A lot of them have been. Jason, who was your garbage person of the week?
All right, as we said earlier, I didn't want to say this because I'm a huge fan, but it's got to go to Dave Chappelle. And look, Dave Chappelle is, I know, John, get back here. John. Okay, listen, sometimes it's hard. It's hard to.
The ads are already coming.
I know. No, well, here's why. Look. Dave Chappelle is a comedian. We have a lot of friends that are comedians, John, and they say that nothing is off limits in comedy, right? But recently, in his recent Netflix special, or his comedy special, Closer, he made some pretty, I would say, controversial remarks about gays and trans and the LGBTQ plus community, saying that, hey, the LGBTQ plus community is, making all these strides, and they're doing it. Versus, if the black community would be in baby oil and booty shorts, hey, maybe we'd be further along as well. He doubled down on some other comments about the trans community, which enraged, of course, Glad and other people. And again, some comedians feel that there is nothing off limits in comedy. It's the joke, right? It's to make people laugh. Everything's in jest. But I think now in 2021, we got to be careful about that. I've talked to, and I don't want to say any names of these comedians I've had conversations with, but even they feel the same way, that, hey, it's a different time. And the argument is, John, this is my craft. Why do I have to compromise my artistic integrity? Why do I have to change who I am and take away from what makes me a comedian? Said comedian. To be PC, to be right with the world now, but the world's different. And when you double down on things and also bring up other disparaging instances, like the baby making comments about HIV and being gay, and hey, if you didn't perform fellatio in a parking lot, you're good. You won't have it. Stuff like that. That's really harmful, erroneous, and you double down on that and kind of support that. That's a problem, Dave Chappelle. Love the dude. So talented. Has been through his own trials and tribulations. Has come out on the other side of a lot of things. Very successful and brilliant. But you kind of got to do better. So I would say he's not a garbage person. He's in timeout. Chappelle's in the garbage timeout. He's in the timeout.
What about a garbage view or a garbage thing?
He's on garbage pickup duty.
So let me say, knowing ahead of time, this isn't gonna stop one of the many dislikes or ads or whatever. Dave Chappelle is my personal favorite comedian of all time. And I also think he's objectively one of, if not the greatest stand-up comic of all time. However, you get to criticize what he chooses to spend his time on in the same way that he is a very analytical, critical person. He would not feel stopped from criticizing anyone. So if we criticize him, we use our free speech. I would say we're more in the vein of a Chappelle than those who say, how dare you? You don't get to criticize Dave. He's a saint. No, we get to criticize everything. We're full-grown humans. We can do that. You can joke, I think, understanding that I am a straight white male. I think you can try to joke about anything and it can be funny. There are lots of comedians that make jokes about straight white males that I think are hilarious. You could, and again, I'm not part of the trans community, but I'm assuming many people in the trans community think you could joke about the community if you came from a place of understanding it was actually funny. Right. He has now done extended segments on the trans community in 4 consecutive specials. Is it his best work? Literally, no, even if you're a huge Dave Chappelle defender, which I generally am, is this his best work? Is this what he should be spending his time on? Is this the powerful group in society that his amazing, brilliant analysis can shed light on? Is this what he should be spending his time on amongst everything else that's going on in our society with white supremacy and fascism and the COVID stuff and all of that? Even his greatest defenders do not actually think that this should be, for the rest of his life, 20% of his output. Nobody actually thinks that. And the issue isn't just that it's not funny or whatever. It's fundamentally, it isn't even just that he does not, after all this time, understand the community. Clearly he does not. It's that he doesn't care to. Like, he really is coming across as a person that doesn't get that just mocking a group that you don't understand is not the best thing you can do. And he's obviously rightly defensive about other groups, like black people, like black men specifically. If there was a comedian who was just focusing nonstop, he would rip them to shreds. And not because it's cancel culture, but because we're adults who get to criticize things. And so as much as I love Dave Chappelle, I've seen Dave Chappelle in person. He's the best comedian ever. I love his comedy. That doesn't mean he's immune from criticism.
Right.
Understanding, of course, I'm not a part of the community, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Yeah. I think that goes across the board for anything. I mean, we're in a time now where criticism is par for the course. Criticism, if you're not being criticized for like, I'm probably gonna get people on Twitter right now like, Jason, I can't stand you, but then you're not doing your job. And I think Dave Chappelle, as you said, brilliant mind, right? And he's criticized a lot of things. I am LGBTQ plus, and I'm also black. So some of the things he said in that documentary were just like, hey, I got 2 strikes against me because I'm both of those things. But I just feel like when you have that kind of platform and the power of your words are just that very powerful, you got to be a little bit more responsible. And or I don't know what his thought process is. I don't know how he arrives at what his set's going to be or why he chooses to do the things he does. But I would imagine that he thinks, okay, look, this could be an issue for people, and he's even addressed that in his other documentaries. And what was the last one he did? He's like, you guys are gonna hate me for talking about the gays.
Sure.
He says that, like he's fully aware. So, but
he doesn't like the pushback. Every comedian has that. They don't like feeling like they're being told what they can say or not. And so he's a proud guy and he's pushing back against it. I just don't think it's necessary. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.